is Jo Hill. I'm a marketer turned consultant with about 20 years of experience in the travel and hospitality industry, and some of that time was spent running digital marketing for IHG. And I'm delighted to be joined today by, so I'll go right to left. So Amy Clarke is the head of marketing EMEA for Wyndham. Wyndham have over 9,000 hotels in more than 90, I need my glasses now, more than 95 countries, particularly strong in the mid-scale segment. And Amy has been with Wyndham for 11 years and has previous experience with the OTA and owner-operator side of the business. Then we have Wendy White, who is the head of sales and marketing for Kew Green Hotels. Kew Green is an owner-operator with 51 hotels in the UK, under brands from IHG, Marriott, Best Western and Accor. And Wendy started her hospitality career as a glass collector and has worked in a variety of operational and commercial roles with independent and chain hotels, and has been with Kew Green for 2 years. Then we have Chris Robinson, who is the Senior Director of Hotel Marketing EMEA for Marriott. Chris has been with Marriott for 24 years in a variety of operations, e-commerce and marketing roles. Marriott needs little introduction, close to 9,500 properties across 39 brands in 144 countries and territories. And of those, Chris is responsible for the marketing of more than 900 hotels and 20 Marriott Bonvoy brands across EMEA. And last but not least, we have Steve Collins, who's the Vice President of Digital at SHR, part of the Access Hospitality Group. And SHR is a technology and marketing services provider for independent hotels with about 2,500 clients across more than 70 countries. And Steve's background is in digital, and he was previously with Avio before its acquisition by SHR a few years ago. Welcome to the panel. We have an amazing breadth and depth of experience and expertise here to talk about maximising digital presence to drive bookings while staying guest-centric. And I can hardly think of a more interesting time than now to talk about this. Guests have never had so many accommodation options and ways to discover and plan and book their trips. And as marketers, we've never had more channels and media and tools and tactics at our disposal to use. And within this landscape, there's a handful of major players. I'd say search engines, but really it's Google. Obviously, there's our friends, the OTAs, social media, and then more recently, the AI, generative AI entrants as well. And they're really driving and supporting this visibility for consumers and this access to choice, but often doing so in a way that marginalises hotel brands and can considerably drive up costs. And of course, consumers want access to choice, but they also want help choosing. And they want other things like confidence. Are they going to get what they've booked? Maybe ease. A hotel knows them, so they're going to go back to that hotel. Or maybe it's something like shared values, and the panel this morning talked about a lot of those kinds of areas. With St. Giles Hotels, the stays for carers, if that's something that resonates with a customer, then that may be a reason for them to choose that hotel. And that's really, those areas are really where hotel brands and marketers can start to compete. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of challenges. Chris, let's start with Marriott. So what are the key trends and challenges that are really impacting the way that you engage with guests today in terms of today's digital landscape?
Well,
and Amy, how does that compare for Wyndham? Similar in terms of a huge brand, lots of hotels?
Yeah, I mean, we have similar problems in terms of how do you scale these things, and you know, the three that you mentioned absolutely is what we're looking at. I think we're going to keep coming back to AI, so I'll save that for now. I think this is unavoidable. I think one of the other challenges that we have is kind of competing for the attention of our customers, because there are just, you know, ever increasing amount of platforms that they're on, so many different brands talking to them. We've got a whole bunch of brands, you've got a whole bunch of brands, and to get them to pay enough attention to know what's special about our brands and how we can reach them. And one thing I think that a lot of us struggle with as well is that these people are spending their time on different platforms and different devices, and not many companies and brands are very good, even still, at seeing them as one person and connecting them, stitching all of those experiences into one person. But I do think there are some really interesting companies out there at the moment who have figured out how to stitch that together. So we're talking to some companies about that. You know, it's getting more and more difficult moving away from cookies. What other ways can we build these personas and figure out who we're really talking to and which interactions are profitable, right? So with all of that noise, how can we find the right places to put our marketing dollars to get our messages about our brands to the right person? So a lot of our focus is there from a marketing perspective.
Great, thank you. And Wendy, from your perspective, how do you cut through that noise and reach your guests on the channels and the media that they're consuming?
Yeah, I mean, very similar to what Emmy was just saying there. Because we've got different brands as well, we're either limited by we don't go out as Kew Green. It's very much the brand name is what obviously we are marketing there. So we're limited by what we can or can't obviously promote and everything. So for us, picking up on just what Amy said then, it's our shop window to really make sure that our shop window is the same. So when you do look on an OTA or you look on an independent website or a social media or a Google listing, whatever that may be, so many now, is that they all look the same. So you get that, people trust in what they're actually seeing, that the bedroom shots are all the same and all of the other parts of it as well. And then for us, because we're limited by, say, databases and access to customer information and email addresses and all that wonderful stuff that we want and we use, for us, the real focus is on that database acquisition and make sure that we manage that database. So people want to be on our database for that hotel because they see the value of that rather than they just get lots of spam emails and things that they go, well, that's not really relevant to me as well. So we're really trying hard to maximise our own databases so that we can then put out meaningful with the right call to action, and then we see the click-throughs, we see the unsubscribes reducing, that kind of thing as well. That's really important for us at the moment.
And are there any particular examples of things that work especially well that you've seen in terms of content?
I suppose wedding campaign is one of the things. I mean, for B2B during the week and stuff, we don't really do B2B marketing. You know, we're all on LinkedIn. We all kind of speak about what we do and look at this meeting room, isn't it lovely? You know, all that kind of stuff. And B2B as well in a lot of locations is still performing really well. So for us, it's that leisure market and then F&B events and weddings is key as well. And we have found by really looking at the campaigns that we've done, refining the campaigns, linking it in with Facebook paid ads, and all of that together, you can't do things obviously in silos. You have to pull the whole thing together. And then as well, I've been talking to people this morning about a CRM system that would pull that information into one place to tell us who'd contacted us, how they'd contacted us, which method of communication they'd used, etc., and what had we sent back to them and everything. We're not there yet, but that would be ideal. But yeah, weddings in terms of email marketing, web marketing, Facebook marketing, etc. as well. Just pulling all that together has been quite a success, but it's taken time and it's taken planning.
Yeah, great.
And money as well.
Of course, always. And Steve, so from your perspective, you're marketing a lot of different independent hotels. The digital media landscape and what's happening with search and the ways that you can go out and find new customers and reach new demand, what do you see changing in that landscape and how are you approaching that? What strategies are you using to win in that environment?
Everything. So it's we spent a bit of time with Google there just only a few weeks ago, and they launched AI mode, which is going to completely change everything of how we use Google. So the traditional 10 blue links that we're all used to, that's going away. And this kind of agentic generative search, that's going to take over. I think for the likes of Marriott, you're probably in a very good place because you have you probably have like a domain authority website that's right up there with the top in the world. But you know, if you're an independent website, you should be a little bit worried, and worried in that you're going to struggle to compete with things that you probably don't even realise that don't offer that much value to you, but you think they might. So things like best hotel in London. You know, every hotel is going to be on that search. Most hotels are probably ranked 15, 16, 17 pages away, never mind 15 to like 15 pages away from the top of that search. But it's going to hurt when you don't show up in that AI mode search, and you're going to say, well, where's my hotel? The people that are going to show up in that are the people with they're the marketplaces, the Booking.coms, the Expedias, the Marriotts, you know, so these so that's how it's going to change an awful lot. That if you any kind of hope that you had of getting up there for those searches, you know, you're probably not going to have any real hope with AI mode down the future. And it's purely because Google are narrowing down what is relevant for that search. And like if you look for best hotels and put an S at the end of that hotel, it's going to say, well, we don't need to look at a single independent hotel. We need to look at hotels, plural. You know, and that's what Google is figuring out. If they're looking for best hotel in London, you're probably going to get something like the Forbes list or Condé Nast showing up. So its relevance is key, and that's going to be changing. That's going to be the biggest change. It's rolled out in the US 2-3 weeks ago, and it's I think by the end of this year we're probably going to see AI mode taking over google.com.co.uk, everything, and we'll be deep in it.
It feels like a seismic shift.
It's massive. It's
and
huge.
but Google's business model is based on sending traffic to other websites.
Yeah.
Yet AI overviews send, I think, something like between 30 and 50% less traffic.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how they blend those two.
You know, the really interesting thing as well is like people are, and they should be worried about organic traffic. I don't think hotels have too much to worry about, because what's not changing massively, like the page, the layout will change differently, but most traffic that will go to an independent website, you're talking 90-95% plus of traffic that's landing on a website is coming from a branded search. And that Google business page, that's not changing massively. AI mode is for the low intent, medium intent, early stage searches. So you're not going to be losing out too much traffic on that stage. And like one figure that I did hear that stat as well, that like 40% of traffic is going to be wiped off from websites. But I think something like 2% of traffic is that's essentially where Google are getting their revenues from. You know, so like the vast majority of it, they're not overly worried about it because they're not making revenue from it anyway. So it's the focus on that 2%, and it's so you will heavily see paid advertising being placed right across the new AI mode. It's they're not going to roll out this without ads. It's their business model. So yeah, it's I wouldn't be overly concerned about the level of traffic for independent hotel websites. Yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. Reassuring for the room, I'm sure. So we're really here today to talk about how to embed guest experience into marketing, and often those things don't always go necessarily hand in hand. I've certainly heard feedback from guests who might feel that they're being blasted by adverts on social. How are you making sure that you're embedding guest-centric thinking into your marketing, Amy?
I mean, I think that the role that digital's got to play there for guest-centric marketing is just making it easier at every touch point. It's not about overwhelming with what we think is the product or the offer that you want at that moment, but just making the whole journey easier. So, I mean, for example, one of the things that we've done recently, we launched a partnership, this is in the US, with Applebee's, so that you can order your room service through the app. It gets delivered to your door, so you can track it through your hotel app along with everything else you're doing in the hotel, and then you get loyalty points on that whole experience. And it feels like we're adding value there with digital for that guest experience. So I think kind of keeping in mind what makes things easier, whether you're at booking stage or you're staying, how can we enhance it with digital rather than just kind of blast you with ads?
I mean, that personalisation and that relevance and understanding what that consumer's looking for at that particular moment in time, is huge, and we heard speakers this morning talk about personalisation. Wendy, what are you seeing in terms of what's working for you? How are you making sure that you deliver the right content at the right time in a relevant way?
A bit of everything really what people have said, but I think for us it's going to be like the introduction of a CRM system to get that information together, because of the different, again, exactly what you said, our hotels are quite a simple setup. They're not complex. We're not, there's not a big spa and then outdoor activities and golf and lots of different things that you can do. They're quite simple. So this, for us, it's more about attracting people on a weekend or for events as well. Like we had the Taylor effect last year. Everybody did an email about, remember, we're in this location. We've got Oasis this week in Manchester. So for us, it's more about tailoring the kind of email shots and things that we do send to be not just, oh, it's the races now, it's Ascot, come and stay. It's more about things to do, bring your children, have more of a, some kind of experience in that location. And then working in partnership with, we all work with Merlin and things, for a Thorpe Park or an Alton Towers or whatever. So, and it's the right time, because that's the other thing. Oh, we've got a gap, right, let's send an email, let's do a campaign, let's put something on Facebook or whatever. It's understanding and having that information. When do people book? When do they make, the tickets go on sale for Oasis. Have you missed your booking, within 24 hours? You probably have. Yeah. And then there'll be just cancellations as people didn't get tickets. So it's having all that information, and that for us is the biggest step now, is, having the information, being able to go, well, who books, who's got kids, who's got dogs, when did they book, what did they come to, and then be able to maximise that communication with the customers. Yeah.
And it's that combination of that revenue management data plus that customer data, that's the goal, to understand when to be able to market the right thing to the right person. So once you've brought somebody to your hotel and they've stayed, what are you doing to then make sure that your properties are front of mind for them when they are looking for their next stay? Amy?
I think the benefits of being part of a big global network of hotels with a huge loyalty program, not quite Marriott huge, but still, over 100 million members at Wyndham, and it's growing. We have so many opportunities to engage with members, even when they're not booking a hotel, because, you might book a resort in Turkey once in a year. You might come back next year. You might do something different. Hopefully you're travelling with work and using our hotels for that. So if you're not booking a hotel, you could be spending your points on an experience. We've got a partnership with Live Nation and Ticketmaster so that you can redeem your points on tickets. We've got some experiences in there that actually money can't buy, so we've negotiated quite unique experiences that our members can spend their points on. Or it could be, even if you're not redeeming points in that way, it could be that you're flying with one of our partner airlines and you're thinking, actually, I've got Wyndham Rewards points that I could use towards my ticket, and it just keeps us top of mind when you're not necessarily booking a hotel, but there are other areas of your life that through the right types of partnerships, we can reach you and just remind you that we're there.
Great. Steve, for hotels that don't have an enormous loyalty programme, what can they do to stay front of mind in between stays?
Yeah, like most independent hotels don't have 260 million members or 100 million members to access. But they do, though, truth be told, because they have access to platforms like Google, social ads. So there is ways to get out in front of those people. Google have spent an awful lot of time, and Facebook are following with giving us really powerful new campaign types on the Google Ads platform. Things like Performance Max for travel, things like demand generation campaigns. These are AI-powered campaigns that, we're no longer targeting keywords, we're targeting the intent of the individual behind the search, because the keywords now are, I think you mentioned on the homes and villas, this extremely long, I want a swimming pool and beach view and everything. Like they're full paragraphs that you're having conversations with agentic LLMs at the minute, and that's the intent that you need to be targeting. So the ads are going to start displaying on those type of keywords, and I don't think I have enough PPC or Google Ads specialists in the world that will be able to figure out all the keywords that are coming down the line with AI mode. So it's things like that, just and leaning into it, because there's been, we've lent into it, thankfully, and it's been transformative for our team. We've seen huge changes, particularly around the Performance Max campaigns. But we've spoken to a lot of agencies who haven't and who've been quite hesitant, and they're really struggling now because they've been left behind, and it's all the old way of doing things are kind of on the way out, and people need to adapt.
So AI, obviously huge potential to make leaps in terms of how marketers are working. One of the speakers this morning, I think it was Emil from Muse, also said though that a lot can be done with automation.
Yeah,
and certainly when
absolutely.
I go into hotel clients, they're not ready for AI yet because the data needs to be in the right place. There are processes that can be automated. So thinking across the gamut of the latest tools and technologies that are being used by your teams, that are working well for your teams. Chris, what's working well in Marriott? We're running short on time. I've got Charles waving at me, and there's more I'd love to explore with you all. But so keeping it as quick as you can. If you had to advise hotel marketers to focus on just one area to future-proof their guest-centric marketing activity into the future, what would you advise them, Wendy?
Put the right tech stack in place to enable you to have a CRM system, get all that information and make it work. Because when you're working in so many silos, it's just a nightmare. So if you've got that opportunity, take it with both hands.
So data, technology, integrated,
to make it all work, because that is going to save you so much time and allow AI to do this and that for you and your teams to go do other things, as opposed to just trawling through databases and Excel spreadsheets and all of that good stuff. So
Great.
tech, definitely
Makes
tech.
sense to me. Steve?
I was going to say that. I think I was supposed to say that. My sales team but Wendy said it for me, so thanks. For hotel marketers, I would say, look, there's tons of personalization tools out there. There's tons of upsell tools. There's tons of tools. But focusing on the like I mentioned earlier, things like Performance Max campaigns through Google, it's I suppose being open to that shift towards a completely new way of doing things, and losing a little bit of creative control as well. Google is they're very flexible in how they, display brands these days. But just I suppose being adaptable to that change would be my definite takeaway. Yeah.
Makes sense. Amy?
On a similar note, I think the changes that AI is bringing, particularly in search, is going to come very quickly. So lean into it, as you said earlier. There's so many resources out there, really good white papers. Speak to your agencies and just educate yourself so that you're ready for what's coming.
I'm going to add one more, which I think is a really important area and complementary to a lot of what you said, which is content. So getting all your content in the right place, optimizing it, atomizing it so you can pull it together and serve it up to the right customers, and also thinking about what you're going to share with third parties and what you're going to keep for yourselves, I think would be important. Thank you all very much. Charles, do we have any time for questions?
Questions? Yeah, of course, definitely. I can take a mic or two. Thank you. Any questions, anyone? At least two? Sorry. Anyone? Any questions?
Too hungry.
What's for lunch?
Any questions, anyone? All right, no questions. It was a great panel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.